Ladies and gents, we are back here in the studio. Welcome back to Event Tech Live London 2022. Remember, if you want to get involved on the socials, hashtag ETL London 22, wherever you're joining us from around the world, it'd be great to see a selfie of you. If you're enjoying it, let us know your comments, let us know your thoughts, all the amazing content we are streaming out today. But as I say, we're joined with another one of our fantastic exhibitors here at the Excel. Please introduce yourself to the world and tell us where you're from.
Hi, I'm Sophie Ahmed. I'm the SVP of Market Strategy for Hubilo.
Fantastic. A very warm welcome to you. Welcome to the Event Tech Live studio. If someone's never heard of Hubilo before, tell us a little bit about what you guys do and the products and services you offer.
So Hubilo is an event tech platform. It can do purely virtual, it can do hybrid and in person. So we can cover whatever the need is, from 10 people through to thousands and thousands, anywhere in the world, for any format, any budget. And we have an amazing customer support team that helps everyone do that as well.
Fantastic. And in terms of your sort of clientele, is there a certain sort of market or demographic that you cover, or are you just any sort of event or, across the board?
I think, like most in the pandemic, everything happened so quickly, so it was probably quite an eclectic mix of anyone and everyone, all over the world, from trade show organisers, conference organisers, brands using, tech to be part of their marketing mix, and associations. But I think recently we're going more towards those who are using events as part of their marketing mix. So, as we know, events are a really big part of marketing. So how people are using that now to drive demand, drive leads, drive revenue growth, get closer to their customers, keep it alive year round. So any brand in the world, any business in the world that is using technology, event technology and events to drive, revenue growth, and that's sort of a big area we're seeing and that we're doing at the moment.
I'll say it's interesting you mentioned that, because on day one of Event Tech Live, which was the virtual day, we actually had a session on event-led growth, and they were saying that again it's very much on the marketers' eye line now. We need to get out, we need to do events, and the benefit of that, if we can deliver it in the right way to the right audience, to say it is a massive thing for marketing teams at the minute. So it's good to know you're there to help with that.
Yeah, and also you can plug it straight into your CRMs, and you can plug it straight into your marketing automation, your HubSpot, Eloqua, whoever, which really wasn't happening before. So that's a really great thing, that you can just get this real-time data, real-time analytics, or act on it there and then, or in the future, and translate that into your future strategy and understand your customers a lot more than we ever did before. So I think that's a really exciting thing that's happening right now with tech.
Yeah, and with sort of Hubilo, I know the name's been around a while. How have you guys sort of developed, changed? Are there any sort of new features you're adding onto it? Is there sort of certain demand from clients that they're going, we really need sort of more emphasis on this, and what are you doing sort of developing things moving forward?
So there's been so much development over the last 2 years. In fact, we have a massive engineering team. It's so enormous, it's amazing. So we're always developing. We've always got new features coming out. Our core features are really well liked, such as like our Hubilo lounges. You can have them open or closed. You can have your own mini LinkedIn sort of newsfeed type feature. But of course, going into this, how you use technology to drive leads and be part of the marketing mix, I think the analytics and the dashboard and the reporting that you can get from it is a really big area that also we're always developing, always making sure that we can add that insight, add that data. So that's really important.
Is that what event planners are really sort of focusing on? Is it in the sort of data sort of driven?
I think, if you're looking at like people who organise, there's sort of two types of events, aren't there? There's those who organise events like, ETL, you organise an event, this is your revenue stream.
Yeah.
Informa, Reed, their businesses are events, they get their revenue from events. And then there are those who have businesses that might be, Nike, it might be a food company, it might be any brand in the world that is using events as part of their marketing mix. So if we're going for the latter, which is where we're looking at, then what they're really looking for is, yes, they want to understand how many people came in, what were their behaviours, you could spend, I always say, 100k on PPC or paid media, or you could spend 100k on Hubilo. You're going to get leads that are like, you understand their behaviours. You understand what they're consuming, what content they're consuming, so you can translate that into future content marketing that's targeted at certain personas. And also you're going to understand leads more. So I think that's the sort of exciting part, I think, that's happening, at the moment. And I think, if I was a marketer right now in any of those companies, I would be all over it. And I can keep them alive, and I can run events on the same one with single sign-on, so it's really easy for them.
Fantastic. And in terms of the people, you've met at the show here over the past sort of 48 hours as we've been going, like, are they new to you? Are they discovering you, or are they sort of clients who know what you guys do and then they're just coming sort of discussing projects with you? What sort of conversations have you been having over the sort of last 24, 48 hours here?
So it's been, I think, an interesting mix. So yes, people know us, and then some people perhaps don't know us as well. So they're coming on to find out more. So that's really interesting, and we're meeting people we already work with, so like bonding with them, understanding what they're up to, like what's their plans for next year, how can we support them better, and so on. We're also meeting tech partners that we potentially might integrate with. I met a really cool company yesterday. I really like what they're doing, so I've sent that to our product team. So I think it's a blend really of all sorts.
I was going to ask about that. Have you had a chance to experience the show much, or have you been stuck on your stand, or have you been out and about?
Well, I was at Informa for 17 years, and I used to run large trade shows, so it's in my blood to walk the floor and go out and see what's happening. And yes, you'd be on the stand to meet people, but you've got to get out there. You've got to see each of the stands, what's the innovation, what's happening out there. And I think that's the exciting thing about something like Event Tech, because you are going to see all the tech players. And I went to the awards last night, and there were a few guys who won actually I hadn't heard of, so I looked them up on LinkedIn and I added them, and that was really useful for me as well, to see new technology that's emerging from the smaller startups that I probably wouldn't have seen if I hadn't come here.
Well, that's it. I'd say a lot of people say it, just literally you walk the floor or go to the awards last night, and all of a sudden you've never heard of them, but they're at the top of the game, and I think that's different to our industry, especially in the tech space, that technology does move so quickly that people just come in and just nail it, straight to the top. As I say, the awards we gave out were the sort of the top players at the moment. So it's fantastic you made those new connections and relationships.
It's great. I think you've got to be here. If you're in events or in event tech, you've got to be here because you've got to know the trends. You've got to see what's happening. You've got to see the new people. I love the way you do the startup pitch. I think it's so important to see the pipeline of tech coming through. Who are the next big startups? Who could we be partnering with? And I always think, because I was once a buyer, so I always think with a customer's hat on, like, who would I be choosing? And so the event geek in me is really fascinated. So I think you've got to be here for all those reasons.
No, absolutely agree. Totally agree with that. Well, thank you very much for joining us. As I say, you've heard it here first, ladies and gents, you have got to be here. So we're going to have a look now, see what happened yesterday. If you weren't here in person, we've got a short highlights reel of what you missed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've been waiting for the last 12 months. Yes, this is the start of Event Tech Live London 20.